What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Blitz Sports Media today. I'm here with Dan Loya. My name is Ryan Linkletter. Maxx Crosby has been traded. Dan is our Raiders insider. Dan, what can you talk about the trade? And did Crosby want to be there, or was just a breakup bound to happen?
Yeah, I think it's just his time with the Raiders came to an end, in my opinion. He's been there since 2019. He's seen a lot of turnover with the franchise. Clint Kubiak's his sixth head coach since he's entered the league. He's had five different GMs. This is a player that he plays every down, man. He never leaves the field. He plays 100% of snaps. He's a relentless pass rusher. Incredible character guy, high character guy. It's a guy that you want to build your franchise around, and he's getting older. He's going to be 29 before the season. He wants to play meaningful football games, so I think he kind of wanted out without saying it, and the Raiders granted his wish, and now he gets shipped off to Baltimore in exchange for two first round picks, and obviously I'm pretty high in Baltimore. I think you are as well with Jesse Minter. They got Super Bowl aspirations with Lamar Jackson, and Maxx Crosby is going to be playing meaningful football in January. So I think it was just it makes sense for both parties involved, and I think it's a great trade for both teams.
Yeah, the interesting part looking at the overall numbers here on Twitter, the official trade of it, two first round picks. Obviously, the Ravens have the 14th overall pick in the draft, and then a first
Yeah,
round pick next year. That's pretty good value for Maxx Crosby overall for the Raiders. The way this situation has trended, I didn't think there was a way these two teams were going to be able to resolve it here in the next few days in the offseason. It seems like something's brewing as well with AJ Brown in Philly, and he could be the next domino to fall. But with Maxx Crosby, you are getting one of the five best edge rushers in football. He's great against the run. He's elite
yep,
rushing the passer, and he's been awesome when he's been on the field for the Raiders throughout his career. And he's been dominant on defenses that haven't been really good. Now you enter him in Baltimore with the likes of Kyle Hamilton, Roquan Smith. That defensive line was their biggest weakness last year, where they had
yeah.
basically no consistent pass rush, and they needed to add edge help this offseason. Well, they're going to get plenty of reinforcements with Maxx Crosby on that defensive line. Jesse Minter had a lot of success in his schemes for the Los Angeles Chargers because of that pass rush and the ability, to have Derwin James in that secondary. He's basically getting a new mold of that Chargers defense in a little bit better of a version than Khalil Mack in Maxx Crosby. So that's a great move by them. With the Baltimore Ravens in general, Dan, I want to talk about them right now. They got to be the clear Super Bowl favorite after this move. They are absolutely loaded on both sides of the ball. There's not really an excuse for Lamar with this roster at this point and a new head coach.
Yeah. I mean, I remember when we had a post Super Bowl, podcast, and I was like, hey, I think the Ravens will be here playing in LA next year. Obviously, I didn't think they'd get Maxx Crosby, but it only helps. And I think, talking ball with you all year, all we talked about the Ravens was they get a big lead in the fourth quarter. They can't get after the quarterback. You got Josh Allen running 15 yards back, making plays. They can't get Mahomes. They can't get Burrow on Thanksgiving. They got a guy now that's going to get after the quarterbacks. And I know they give up two first round picks, but they give up 14, which is a premier player. But if you think about it, next year, if they're shooting for the Super Bowl, it's going to be a pick, what, 31, 32, 28 or higher. So I think that's good value for a player like Maxx Crosby, man. That, like I said, he doesn't leave the field. He's gonna leave his heart on the field, man. And he's just such a great player. So yeah, dude, this is it for Baltimore. This is why they moved on for Jim Harbaugh. There's a lot of talent that I think people don't realize that is on the Ravens right now, and I think Jesse Minter is gonna get the best out of both units, offense and defense.
Yeah, and it's a accumulation of what's going on in the AFC. Buffalo, new
Yeah,
coaching change. They're cutting guys out of the blue. They're $24 million still over the cap right now and need to find a way to get, back to even at some point and make some moves in free agency. They have a lot of holes and they just traded for DJ Moore too. And, they're trying to go all in, but they have a lot of turnover right now. Feels like Buffalo is a little bit of a mess. And then you look at Kansas City as well. They are going through a retooling phase, trading one of their best players in Trent McDuffie. Those have been the two teams that Baltimore has been compared against over the last 8 seasons. And they seem like they're in a better position coming off a missed playoff. They have the talent. Lamar Jackson is going to get healthy this offseason, return to form in the upcoming year. And now they made the biggest splash of the offseason, and Maxx Crosby having an elite pass rush made such a big move. But I don't want Baltimore to get complacent here. They need to add another receiver next to Zay Flowers and make it a little bit easier for Lamar Jackson. They have questions in the interior offensive line that I would like to see addressed. And then another edge rusher. Why not go get two guys that can rush the passer? Because we know that Maxx Crosby is going to be doubled and triple teamed and even chipped off the edge at times.
Yeah.
So go add another guy, make defenses have a headache, and go from there. What were we going to say?
No, they got Mike Green. They drafted him in the second round. I know he fell.
He was, see, the thing with, I
concerns.
loved Mike Green coming out. He was an absolute
Mhm.
disaster last year for them. And that was the thing with the Ravens. I thought the Ravens had a great draft with him and Malachi Starks last year.
Mhm.
Both of them weren't great during their rookie season. I think Starks was better than Green, but if they can get Mike Green to return to
That's
what
what
he
I'm saying.
looked like in college and his tape, that would be something scary. But if he plays like he did last year, I still think a veteran edge. I mean, or who's to say Khalil Mack doesn't come over for 1 year, played under Minter's
That'd be
scheme? That would be fun.
Man,
That
that'd
would be
crazy,
fun.
man. Yeah, I mean,
That
2
would be a
former
crazy
Raiders,
tandem.
Anchor in the
Yeah,
defensive line. That'd be pretty funny.
former
And
Raiders anchoring it down.
so real quick, I don't know how you are with like because Jesse Minter's the new head coach there. I think it like when coaches do this, like they get in there, you know, they're not familiar about who's coming out in college. You know, I'm sure they got to build like a staff too, because I know the GM DeCosta's there, and I'm blanking on the other guy's name in Baltimore. But like they have their scouts, but I'm sure like they didn't know that they're gonna get Jesse Minter. Like it's a tight turnaround. So I think when you trade a
Yeah,
first round pick when a coach first gets there, it's like you got Maxx Crosby, man. He's better than anybody coming out right now. Like that's your first round pick. Like I understand the move and it makes a lot of sense for the Ravens. So
yeah, and
this is big
like
for
I
them.
mentioned, like the spot they would have been in at 14 wouldn't have put them in this position to make a splash this offseason. Their Super Bowl odds
Yeah.
are jumping from, I want to say they were
Well,
fourth entering the day. They're going to be first by far
mhm.
after today, and they're going to jump the Rams, who just made a big trade to swing that. So, like the Ravens, this is what you need to do to go all in. But to close this video,
Yeah.
Dan, I do want to talk about the Raiders. They're
Mhm.
accumulating draft picks, right? This is a full on
Yep.
rebuild right now. You're drafting Mendoza 101. You're accumulating another first round this year, one next year. What is the outlook like for the Raiders long term?
So what I was thinking about while this whole thing was going down with Maxx Crosby was I don't know if you remember Brian Burns, how the
Yeah,
Panthers could have shipped him off like a year before they did, and they could have got like a couple first round picks as well. They held on to him, and then the next year they gave him up for I think like a second and a third. It wasn't good value. So I think the Raiders understood this, and they're like, hey, you know, we got to sell high here. And I think Spytek held firm, man. He said he wanted two picks and a player. He got 2 first round picks, and one of the first round picks is top 15. That's a premium pick in the NFL draft. So you got to take it.
yeah.
And it makes a lot of sense, man. The Raiders are rebuilding. They're gonna get young talent here. Let Spytek build the team how he sees it. Clint Kubiak's just getting there. Let him pick some players. I anticipate they're probably gonna attack offensive line or you know an edge rusher. You know, so we are probably like 48, 47 days to the draft, so they got a lot of work to do. But I Spytek and that front office for the Raiders they know what they're doing there. So if you're a Raiders fan, you got to trust them and trust the process. And here we go, man. They're starting it from the ground up, and give it a couple years, and we'll see how this team is, how the Raiders look.
I think that's what they had to do. If they,
Yeah.
kept going with Maxx Crosby, they just add Mendoza and some pieces in free agency and some other picks. They're
Mhm.
not going to compete in the AFC West this year. They are not going to, 2 to 3 year outlook with just that draft capital. You're like, we're all banking on Fernando Mendoza. Now you add another first round pick in the next 2 drafts. You have
Yep, that's
other
big.
high level talent coming in that makes it a little bit easier to go through and build a whole roster out. Maxx Crosby is a great player, but there's 10 other players in the defense that need to be able to fill that spot. The Raiders have a ton of holes in terms of their secondary right now, and they just need some more infused talent in different levels of their defense. And I think having multiple picks in the first round and 2 straight drafts has the ability to do that and truly give them a chance to compete in probably one of the toughest divisions in the sport outside of the NFC West. Is you got 3 teams with a franchise quarterback. You draft Mendoza, check off that. You have a franchise quarterback, hopefully, in that. Then you have 3 other first round picks in the next 2 years where you can address your massive positions of need: wide receiver, defensive help, wherever that seems fit and best available. and they can do that. And then year, 3 of this, Mendoza has a good roster around him to go out and succeed on his rookie deal. And I really think that's the best path forward for the Raiders.
Yeah, and then one more thing about those first round picks is you have the ability to keep those players for 5 years. So you got a
Yep.
4-year contract and then a player option. So like you said, we all know the Raiders going to be rebuilding. They're going to have those players under control, so it's good for them. And the future's bright, I think, for Las Vegas. So I think this trade works out for both parties, man, and I'm excited to see how it works out.
100%. Well, guys, drop your reactions down below to the craziest trade of 2026. Who won the trade? Early winners and losers. Drop them down below. Hit that subscribe button for more Blitz Sports Media content. Me and Dan will catch y'all next time.